People leave traces of who they are. Nobody ever does anything once. If somebody has done a bad deed, or you see them mistreating somebody else, and then they'll come back and say, oh, it just came over me. This happened once. That's not who I am. You should not ever believe them. When they do something bad, they probably have done it before and will do it again. Really toxic people have learned since an early age. They learn to be charming. Evil, destructive people don't have horns on their head. They've learned to disguise themselves. There's no one more dangerous than a person who has no self-awareness, because that gives them license to do whatever they want and feel justified. Humans are actors. From the age of 2 years old, 3 years old, we learned how to manipulate our parents by crying when we needed to cry, being charming, saying certain things. We learn how to act. And when we grow up, earlier in that chapter, I make the point if you met a person that said exactly what he felt every time, you would hate that person. He would never have any friends. So let's be honest about this. We're all acting. When we're in the office, we're not telling our boss exactly what we think about his stupid ideas or what he's wearing or his clothes or etc. We say what we think is appropriate for that situation. We are courtiers. And I want to bring some honesty into that and say, stop fighting that need to be an actor. In fact, what you want to be is you want to be a better actor. You want to be good at this. You need to be truthful about yourself. You need to be honest about who you are. You need to be honest that you have a dark side, that you have aggressive impulses, that you can feel envious. So you need to be truthful about yourself. But being a social animal, which is what we are, means that you have to mold what you say and how you act to the situation that you're in. You can't just simply blurt out what you feel. That's being an animal. That's not being a human being. A human being controls his emotions, has the ability to control what he or she says. I see 1,000 times in business situations, the number one sin that people make mistakes in negotiations or in meeting is they talk too much. They say things that they shouldn't have said. They reveal things about themselves that they shouldn't. You need to have more self-control. You need to be better at wearing that mask. And you need to enjoy the sense of being a good actor and playing a role. Some of the best people who are the most successful are really good at playing a role, are really good at this sort of acting aspect. We're increasingly self-absorbed. We're always thinking about ourselves. Do people like me? Did I say the right thing? Am I being respected? And I want to flip the scenario. I want you to look and think about the other person, what they need, what they're thinking, their psychology, their background, their problems. And starting from that position, you have the ability to influence them. And that may lead into some of this acting ability where you know how to present the proper front for them, etc. I know I get a lot of flack for this in my books, and I've had it since the 48 Laws of Power and the Art of Seduction. But I'm saying to be a social animal and to be able to get along with people, of course, sometimes you need to be honest. I don't think you should be dishonest with your wife and your children. Those are personal situations. I'm talking out in the business world. I'm sure when you're addressing your thousands of employees at those, I've been to that in Vegas, you're playing a role. You're wearing a mask. You're showing them a kind of persona that's going to impress them. You're being a leader. Being a leader means being assertive, being strong, talking in a certain tone of voice, carrying yourself in a certain way. You're an actor. And the better you are in front of a crowd in doing that, the more people will think of you as a person of authority. Some people are truly toxic, and we've all encountered them in our life. They're no good. They can ruin your life. They're aggressive, they're selfish, whatever it is. When you're with them, you need to be able to suss them out. You need to be able to see the signs that you're dealing with a toxic person. So I'm telling you to be aware in the moment that every person you deal with in life is different as an individual. The more I know about your unique background, about what makes you who you are, the better I'm able to deal with you. When I know that you have these particular sensitivities and these particular values, I have to be aware of that, and I have to not offend you, or do things that are going to turn you against me. So it's not like you have to make everybody like you, but you have to understand every person that you deal with and what makes them tick, and what makes them an individual. Sometimes you do have to alter yourself and how you talk to a person depending on who they are. And you're not bipolar. This is where the argument gets sidelined and is not right. When you are in your daily life and you meet Jordan Peterson, for instance, you talk to him a certain way, and when you meet somebody else who maybe you don't respect as much, you suddenly become another person. You're always shifting your persona depending on who you meet. You'll notice in your own life, there'll be people you meet who make you kind of aggressive. You'll be very aggressive and assertive in them. And other people you meet who will make you very intimidated, and you'll be the exact opposite. You change depending on the people that you're with. That's sort of natural, that's how we are. But you're not aware of that. You're not aware of how much you are actually. The brilliance of Lyndon Johnson as a communicator was that he tailored his message to every different person that he met. He wasn't the same with Hubert Humphrey as he was to Dick Russell, as he was to John F. Kennedy. He was a master at always sort of shifting depending on the vulnerabilities and the values of the person he was dealing with. So you need to deal with people as individuals. People are complex, and we like to simplify them. So when we're dealing with someone, we think we have a snap judgment about them, that they're like this or that. But they're more complicated than you think. And so the more you can figure out what makes them different, what makes them an individual, the better your chances of having the ability to influence them. Some of the most aggressive, powerful people in history had incredibly high levels of ambition, and they had to learn to control that on their rise to the top. That's how people become successful, is by their ability to channel their energy. So you have to be aware that the game is social, that the winners in life have a wider base of operation. They have more supporters, they have more allies than other people. You're not going to get very far in life if you're alienating everyone around you, right? You have to learn self-control. If you're angry about something, you don't act on your anger. You wait 24 hours, 48 hours before sending that email, before yelling at someone. These are little steps you take to learn to control that. If you're highly ambitious and you show too much of it, sometimes it's good to show ambition, but you need to show a certain amount, not too much to frighten people. Well, that's what these books are about. They're being self-aware that in a certain situation, you enter an office, 30 people, and you suddenly show that you want to be like the number one person. You're going to find your path really difficult in life. But if you show that you don't have any ambition, no one will respect you. So you have to hit that proper medium.
Got it.
And you learn how to do that. You learn by your mistakes, you learn by the people you've pissed off, that you've alienated, and you learn self-control. I was on the board of directors of a publicly traded company run by an entrepreneur who was very successful, but who had no self-control. He couldn't control himself in an interview. When he was interviewed by a reporter, he would talk about his sex life. He had no ability to censor himself. And when he got angry, he yelled at people. He made so many enemies that he ended up destroying himself. I was part of the group that fired him as the CEO of the company, and then the company just completely tanked because of that. I see that all the time. We're looking at that with Elon Musk. You have a person like that who has no self-control, and it becomes a problem. They think so highly of themselves that they can't stand anybody challenging them. So yeah, you created a publicly traded company now. If you don't want people to challenge you, if you don't want the difficulties that come with a publicly traded company, then don't do it. It's very simple. If you don't want those kind of walls, those obstacles that people are going to put up, then don't do it. But he made that decision. And once you make that decision and you're a strategist, you're not just an entrepreneur, but you're a leader and a business person, you have to make compromises. You have to control what you tweet. The car business is an extremely difficult business. It depends on mass producing something at a reasonable price. And so you have to have a scale that you can manage. And he never really had that. He didn't build his company up in an organic, slow fashion. He was too ambitious. He went too quickly. I saw that with the man who I was the I was on the board of directors. He expanded too quickly, which gets back to your ambition thing. So you have to be careful and you have to be a strategist in life. And I think someone like Elon Musk lacks a degree of self-control. There's no one more dangerous than a person who has no self-awareness, that can't see who they are, because that gives them license to do whatever they want and feel justified. So I want you to become aware of perhaps you have these tendencies yourself. The ability to judge people's character, maybe one of the most important chapters in the book, but one of the most important skills you can develop in life. Because think about it, you are constantly in a situation in life in which you have to decide on whether you want to associate with this person or not. You want to hire them as an employee. You want to vote for them for president. You want to marry them. You want them to be your friend. We've all been in situations where we thought somebody was a certain way, and then a year later or a few months later, we discover a whole other side to their personality, and it's not good. And we're surprised and we're disappointed, and we tend to blame them as if they were fooling us. People leave traces of who they are. You're just not picking up the signs. I say in this chapter, nobody ever does anything once. If somebody has done a bad deed, or you see them mistreating somebody else, and then they'll come back and say, oh, it just came over me. This happened once. That's not who I am. You'll believe them. You should not ever believe them. You should realize that people have patterns. When they do something bad, they probably have done it before and will do it again. So these are types of people who have certain patterns, and I want you to be able to pick them up. And we're making the distinction between strong and weak characters. A weak character can't stand any kind of criticism. They can't learn from situations. Their ego is too fragile. And a strong person can adapt and can take criticism. I have a quote in there from Schopenhauer that fools do not show up wearing a cap and bells, and evil, destructive people don't have horns on their head. They've learned to disguise themselves. So really toxic people have learned since an early age that if they just simply display their ugly behavior, they'll turn off people. And so they learn to be charming, and they learn to be kind of seductive, and they wear a mask that disguises you from the reality. It's just sometimes you can't trust people. Like, people will be political with you, particularly you as a CEO of a great company. They may not be very honest. They may be afraid to be honest with you. Your wife may be less so, but even she has her limits. Even she knows that she needs to please you or stay on your good side. So you need to have the ability to do both. The greatest sign is when you've had an interaction with people and it didn't go the way you expected it. The person was colder than you thought. Maybe they were offended. Are you going to go back home and, God, that guy's an asshole. Fuck him. What an idiot. Yeah. What did I do wrong? Was I being too dramatic? Was I being too personal in the situation? Was I moralizing too much? Can you go home and self-reflect and say, well, maybe I have some of these problems. That's the difference between you and the toxic type. The toxic type can't go through that process. Let's say that the quality in a person is almost like a metal. There's the word tensile. If you're a strong person, you can bend a little bit. That metal, if it bends a little bit, it's actually stronger. People who are weak can't take any kind of criticism, can't look at themselves. Now, their ego is very fragile. They're going to wilt under any kind of challenge. The main thing is knowing that you have that quality. See, like, if you don't think that you have, let's say you are a hyper-perfectionist, and I have those tendencies, but you're not aware of it, you don't think that you have that problem, you're never going to be able to stop it, you're never going to be able to control it. So 90% of the game is your self-awareness. So when you get in a situation the next time where your tendencies, I make a point in the book that we have a lower and a higher self. The lower self is this kind of animal part of us that makes us act without thinking, that makes us fall into patterns, that makes us get emotional, that makes us take the path of least resistance. And we're constantly falling for that because it's easier. It's the animal part of our nature. If you're aware of this part of you, if you're aware that you have these tendencies, then you can begin to control them. But I don't want people to think that that you have to aim too high. You're not trying to become Gandhi or something. We have our flaws and we have our limitations.